I am currently in college, and my brother got married a few years ago. I decided to visit him during my vacation, and then he revealed something I didn't expect. My elder brother has been married for a few years now. Both he and his wife have full-time jobs with equal working hours, but he earns almost 7 times more than her. Despite that, he has never once made an issue out of it. He takes care of all the expenses at home: rent, electricity, groceries, clothes, trips, gifts, everything you can think of. Even her personal expenses like jewelry and salon visits are covered by him. He has never questioned her about what she does with her own income because he believes that in a marriage you shouldn't start counting who is paying what. Her pride is his pride. He always feels it is his responsibility to give her the best life he can. But recently, he asked her if she could help a little more with the household work because he's been mentally and physically exhausted handling everything alone. Her reaction was quite unexpected. She told him he was being sexist and said that just because he earns more, it does not mean she should do more at home. She kept saying that both of them work equal hours, so it's unfair to expect her to contribute more to the housework. My brother calmly tried to explain that it's not about earning more or less, but about supporting each other as partners. Even then, she told him that he only started helping with chores because she pointed it out and that otherwise he would have never done it on his own. She even said it's his job to take care of the finances because he is the man of the house. That's when he truly felt like they were thinking in two different directions. He asked her if he is expected to handle the finances just because of his gender. Then wouldn't it also be unfair to assume that she should not contribute at all to household responsibilities? She then changed the direction of the conversation and started talking about how society expects men to be the providers. In the end, when he opened up to her and said he is genuinely emotionally exhausted and feeling completely drained, she softened and said they can fix it and that she will start helping more. But now he is unsure whether he can trust that promise or not. He loves her, no doubt about that, but he is tired of doing everything, handling every financial and emotional responsibility, and still being made to feel like the problem. He doesn't expect a perfect 50-50 relationship, just a bit of support. He wants a partner, not someone who picks and chooses when to talk about equality. My sister-in-law considers herself a feminist, but if she truly does, then how can she make statements like it is a man's duty to provide? Like seriously. My brother was seriously looking exhausted while he was narrating all this to me. So I want your opinions on this case. Story 1. Your brother's wife hypocritically demands he handle all finances as the man while calling his plea for household help sexist despite his overwhelming contributions. Her selective feminism and lack of empathy dismiss his exhaustion, risking resentment in their marriage. Without her genuine effort to share responsibilities, he will burn out. She must step up as a true partner. Otherwise, they should separate. Story 2. He is sexist for asking her to do more housework, but it is his responsibility as the man to provide financially. Yeah, this is not going anywhere good. Story 3. She is going to drag him through hot coals during the divorce. I will bet that she quits her job to tend to the house so he can relax after work. Then 6 months to a year later, she will say she wants a divorce. Story 4. Another case of wanting the benefits of equality while maintaining the advantages of traditional values. Story 5. It's hard to say because we do not know enough about their relationship. We basically have a one-sided view of one heated conversation, and we are even getting a third-party account of that. Why are you even posting about your brother's marriage? From the text, it could be anything. She could be toxic. It could be a case of feminism when it suits her. She could just be with him for his money and trying to leech. Or it is also possible she is feeling insecure. I have been in a relationship where my partner made multiple times more than I did, and it can affect you in surprising ways over time. If she really is a feminist and wants to be independent or feel equal to her partner, maybe she was feeling dwarfed by the income difference and took his asking for help as an attempt to put her into a housewife role. Or maybe there is something else entirely going on that you are not privy to or does not come across here. Story 6. It sounds like your brother has some resentment towards his wife. If he wants appreciation, there should be honest communication between them. It may seem petty, but if he wants recognition for bringing in more money to the household, he should mention that to her. He could say that he is not keeping track of the disparity, but it would be nice to be appreciated as a partner in the relationship. Regarding chores at home, if he feels the income disparity should allow for some difference in household chores, that might be a losing battle. The best your brother can do is set boundaries on the chores he is willing to do. Maybe they can agree that some chores will be done by someone else. One solution is to pay for help. A regular cleaner or eating out more can reduce the stress of housekeeping. If money is tight, a difficult conversation about her finding a higher-paying job or quitting to handle more housework is needed. Housekeeping is difficult and quite expensive. Some families save more by having a partner stay at home full-time rather than maintain a low-income job. In my country, hiring a helper for cooking and cleaning is more affordable than having my wife quit her relatively lower-paying job. In some households, the reverse is true. Story 7. The obvious answer is to either pay to outsource some of the household work or have the wife work part-time and do household work during the extra hours. Money and work schedules should be leveraged to enhance your lives together. It sounds like they can afford to outsource the household tasks, and they should have roughly equal non-working hours to enjoy as a couple. It is not fair to expect the lower earner to pick up more of the household chores when both work equal hours. Story 8. That relationship is going steadily downhill. You cannot reason with someone ingrained with an agenda, nor can you have a fair and balanced relationship with them. Unfortunately, this is becoming all too common nowadays for men in relationships. The TikTok girls are on a rampage, and misery loves company, even if it means ruining your own marriage over an agenda. My brother is facing something similar with his wife after experiencing domestic violence and emotional abuse over the same complaints about money and sexism. Story 9. They need couples counseling. You are hearing only one side of the story, your brother's. The money being earned is irrelevant, as is the comment about feminism. The exhaustion due to their careers and the time available is what matters when it comes to household chores. You said she has brought up chores with him before. Maybe there were issues in the past where he was not fulfilling his responsibilities, and she is afraid of it returning to that. It is hard to say without more information. That said, I am sensing provocation. Story 10. First, you are only getting one side of the story. That perspective is from a man who is admittedly burnt out. It is a bad situation, but it can potentially improve if steps are taken. From what it sounds like, feminist or not, your brother and his wife are approaching the issue from different angles. He wants help in a certain way, but his wife may have insecurities about becoming a certain role. That is an absolutely normal feeling to have. She would be wrong if nothing changes, but after they spoke, she said she would try to do what she can. All your brother can do from there is wait. Therapy might help, of course, or at least both of them taking time off to properly talk to each other, since ultimately it sounds like they are not on the same page. Additionally, if the wife is working to have her own income and feel like she has autonomy, maybe that is something they need to discuss. Maybe they need to pool money, but as you said, not keep track of who pays what. Maybe your brother needs to tell her directly that even though she may feel insecure, like a leech perhaps, she is not any more or less valuable. In the end, your brother needs rest, communication, and relief from some of his burdens. His wife needs validation, communication, and to try to support her husband. Let things play out naturally and support him where you can. Remember, it is not him versus her. It is both of them versus the problem. Story 11. What is mine, and what is yours is mine. Terrible philosophy. I have never understood how married people have separate bank accounts. How do you save as a unit? How do you agree to major purchases? It seems like more trouble than it is worth. Story 12. I hope he signed a prenuptial agreement with that income disparity. Otherwise, she is going to take him to court. Story 13. I feel like this is a common situation. It is hard because I understand both sides. They work the same amount of hours, and I assume she cannot help that she makes less than him. If the difference is small compared to what he makes, she should consider quitting her job. Then she can focus on being more of a homemaker and ease the stress for both of them. My friends did this, and it really helped their relationship. Story 14. There are some interesting questions here. Let's start with the money. The wife is right that income does not matter, but effort and mental load to earn it due. If one of them is sitting doing nothing for 20,000 and the other is working hard for 20,000, then that is not equal mental load. The brother cannot expect the wife to do her job and all the housework, nor can she expect him to do so. It has to be fair. When he asked her to contribute more to the home, was she already doing her fair share? Do they both know how much time and mental load go into the tasks they perform? They need a serious discussion about who does what, their mental load and the perceived mental load. Do they actually know and appreciate how much housework each is doing? Story 15. It sounds like it is headed toward resentment, disappointment, and feeling alone together. If I had to say what is going wrong, I would start with the needs. First, he is expressing a need for more time to recharge after work. However, he is expressing it by placing more responsibility on her. Second, she is expressing a more complicated need. She is just as exhausted as he is, and she resents having to do more simply because she is the wife. She believes her time is just as valuable as his. She expresses this by calling him names and demanding that his role as head of the household requires his basic effort regardless of income. At this point, both parties are likely shutting down because each demands that their needs be met by the other with no attempt to understand or address the issue as a team. It is possible for them to make the changes necessary to better handle these conflicts. But what we see now is a certain breakdown if the reaction to such situations remains poor communication of needs and defensiveness about each person's contributions to the relationship. Story 16. This is why I continue to tell men and women that hiding your values and views will only hurt you in the long run. Just imagine if he had put his foot down a long time ago instead of allowing these sexist and selfish perspectives to fester in her mind. Truthfully, if I made 7 times the amount my wife did, and that equates to me making over 6 figures, depending on where I live would also affect how my house structure is set up. Is her money negligible to the overall finances? If it is, why is she still working and why isn't she taking care of the house? A better question is why isn't he just outsourcing the extra tasks since he makes so much more? Sometimes it's not always a problem in your relationship. Sometimes it's an outside stressor that you can fix without getting into it with your wife. Sometimes we need to see something in somebody to figure out when something is important to them. The better question is what will happen in the next month now that she knows he needs help. If she doesn't help, I would file for divorce without even having a conversation about it. But if she helps out more, I think you should give her the benefit of the doubt. Story 17. Okay, so that is why the original poster went and posted the same content in the subreddit Askindiaman. The comments here are very reasonable. Story 18. Tell him to leave while he can. Many modern feminist women believe that a woman doing anything for a man is sexism and patriarchy. However, it is a man's responsibility to do everything for the woman. A relationship with a woman who thinks this way is not worth it. He is already showing signs of resentment. If he earns 7 times more and she continues to act like this, his resentment will only increase. Story 19. By the time I got to your last paragraph, I already knew that we were dealing with a feminist. This is essentially the crux of the problem. As long as she remains in that toxic mindset, the marriage will continue to decline until he either leaves her or loses all will to live and becomes a simpering idiot full of internalized rage. That is where the marriage is heading. Story 20. Women will do anything to avoid accountability. For many women, chores are a sensitive topic. Even if their partner's contribution to maintaining the relationship is much higher, they still refuse to do chores, even when their partners already do most of them. My girlfriend, my sister, my mother, aunt, female cousins, and female friends are the same. Their husbands and boyfriends are devoted men who adore them and do everything for them. It seems men are holding up their end of the bargain in the relationship as providers and heads of the household. But the women refuse their part of the bargain, even if both are working and equally busy. I work just as much as you, so I shouldn't have to do anything more than you. But I do everything already. That's why I'm tired and asking for your help. Or do you just want someone to subsidize your life and pick up after you as well? I don't have a solution, except to make it very clear to your partners that a true 50-50 split of the housework and maintenance cost of the relationship is not something they will like. Story 21. so they both work and share housework. It sounds fairly evenly split. Regardless of who earns more, the amount of effort involved in both roles may be similar. His exhaustion is not more valid than hers, and vice versa. If he is earning a lot, then why not hire a housekeeper or cleaner? That way, neither of them will suffer from exhaustion. Aside from that, you are in college. With the greatest respect, you do not yet know how much work goes into a successful marriage. Of course, he can vent to you, but it would be better for him to get professional help from a counselor or therapist. Story 22. This is the problem when men allow themselves to be walked on. His only hope is to stand up for himself, but it may be too late. It sounds like she has already lost all respect for him. The worst thing a man can do in a marriage is to roll over and say, "Yes, dear. I cannot believe how men allow this to happen." Women want a man with self-respect who has personal boundaries and sets expectations. This is why you should never consider marrying a self-proclaimed feminist. They might be good for a fun time, but never for a long time. Story 23. If he earns 7 times more, then I assume it is enough to hire help. He can outsource that work, perhaps hire a cleaner for the weekend so he and his wife can rest. You earning more is just you earning more and does not indicate that your spouse should compensate by working more at home. Story 24. She is absolutely a feminist. Modern feminists have no interest in actually being equal to men. They want all of the same benefits and rights as a man, but they do not want any of the responsibilities or accountability that come with them. That is why many women want to split everything equally until it is time to pay the bill or do anything traditionally considered a female role. If he has any self-respect, a divorce is imminent. He needs to start evaluating women much more carefully. Story 25. If they can, they should go to a marriage counselor. Having a mediator present will hopefully help both of them hear each other's points without emotional reactions or double-standard rationalizations. Story 26. I don't know what feminism has to do with being a selfish leech, but if all she has to give back is a bad attitude, it is time to remove this leech. Get a good woman instead. They don't even have children yet. Why are they married? Not for me to say, but is there anything of value in that marriage? Story 27. Sounds like a one-sided story to me. Are you guys Asian? Why does your brother not post this? How do you know so much about their relationship dynamics? Do you live with them? Story 28. Feminism is a good thing. What she is doing here is toxic feminism. Like she said, society expects men to provide. Then why does she not know that society expects women to take care and do all the house chores? Story 29. Your sister-in-law is a difficult person, like some women who identify as feminists. Not all feminists dislike men, but this is the case here. I advise you to search for a very good divorce lawyer and take your brother there so he can learn how to protect himself and his assets. If you can help, please do. This marriage is going to fail badly. This is not hypothetical. It is a statement. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.